In this video, we're going to be discussing the best fighter builds currently in the game. We're going to keep things simple. We're going to talk about the armor, weapon, trinkets, and mutation. So what's the best armors for fighter types in Grounded 2? As early as possible, you want to grab the Ladybug armor set. That's the faceplate, the chest, and the shin guard. When you've got the full set on, it gives you fighter armor bonus. This makes enemies focus on you more in a fight, which is perfect if you're tanking for friends. Plus, you also get the bargain block perk, so every blocks heat up way less stamina, letting you stay in fights longer without gassing out. Here's a really cool bonus, the Scarlet Embrace. Every time you block an attack, it restores a little bit of your HP. It's not huge, but it stacks up over time and keeps you going without needing to heal constantly. And check this out, if you pair the Ladybug armor with the Ladybug shield, you're basically a mini boss. High block stats, solid defense, and it works perfectly with the Scarlet Embrace and your armor's passive. If you want to push it a little bit further, equip the Mosquito Needle with this setup. Every hit steals HP, and combine it with the Scarlet Embrace plus the Frenzy mutation, you're constantly healing while swinging and blocking. It's insane. You can fight as a tank, hit hard, and barely drop below full health. This combination makes Ladybug armor arguably the best early to mid game setup if you want raw survivability and damage. Later on, if you get the materials, you can switch to the Snail armor. You still get the fighter armor perk, but you also get a new perk, which is the block stun perk, which means every time you block an attack, you have a good chance of staggering the enemy for a follow-up hit. And the set bonus for this armor is retaliation, which is wild. Every block hit gives your next charge melee attack a shockwave, stacking it up to 5 times. The more you stack, the faster and harder your charge attack is. That is crazy. So block a bunch of hits, build up your stack, and then unleash a massive shockwave that will wipe everything from in front of you. It turns your defense into pure offense, and honestly, it feels amazing when you do it. So those are the armors. Now we're going to move on to the best weapons. For weapons, one of the first ones that you want to grab is the Roach Club. It is a tier 2 one-handed smashing weapon. It hits hard and stuns enemies like crazy, perfect for controlling fights. Pair it with the Scarlet Aegis shield, which is a unique weapon variant of the Lady Guard shield. I didn't know that, but I kind of found that out after doing some research. It has the same ability or perk, which every time you block, it costs less stamina, but it also gives you an extra perk, which is the Parry Buggy Heal, which means every time you fully or perform a perfect block, it heals your buggy 5% of their total health, which is pretty awesome. So you swing, you block, you protect your buggy. It's a very solid combo. Say you want something faster and more aggressive, the Spicy Katana hits multiple enemies, it deals good damage and keeps you mobile. Its perk Sizzling Attack causes melee hit to deal 10 sizzle buildup on foes. It's great with the Snail Shell armor's retaliation stacks. So what you're gonna do is, block 5 times and then go ahead and attack with your Spicy Katana, which is going to deal a massive attack. Here's a beast alternative if you don't want to use the Spicy Katana or the Roach Club. You can go ahead and use the Pinch Whacker. It has high stun stats, so you can knock enemies flat. Damage per swing is low, but the final hit in a 3-hit combo emits a AoE shockwave that hits all nearby enemies. Pair it with the Snail Shell's armor and its block stun plus retaliation, and you're staggering, shocking, and controlling mobs in one smooth flow. And if you add the Trinket, the Volatile Capacitor, which adds extra shot damage per hit, because the Pinchwhacker's attack per hit is low, or if you don't want to do that, you can also add the Astonishing Acid, which makes the last hit in your 3-hit combo do massive extra damage. As you know, the last hit in the Pinchwhacker does massive AoE damage. If you pair that with the Astonishing Acid and it increases the last hit in that combo, you're gonna do extra massive AoE damage, which is a total crowd control monster. So that's it for the weapons. Now we're gonna move on to the trinkets. Before we get into the trinket section of the video, I've made a dedicated video showcasing exactly how to get all 17 trinkets in Grounded 2. Check it out in the description of this video. So what's the best trinket? For co-op play, I recommend the Sturdy Shell. It boosts your defense, which is perfect if you're a frontline fighter holding the line. One of its perks, Major Threats, which draws more attention from enemies. It pretty much makes you tankier and lets you survive fights longer while your team does the damage. If you want to spice things up, again, you can use the Astonishing Acid, making every hit in your last hit combo do massive extra damage, which is great for bursting through those tougher bugs. Or if you want to, you can go for the Volatile Capacitor, which adds an extra flat shock damage to every melee hit. Perfect for chipping away at enemies with armors or resistance. Now we're going to move on to the final category, and that is Mutation. So let's start mutation, the stuff that really makes your fighter build shine. Mutation is divided into 4 categories. We're going to start off with the fighting style. I have 2 options when it comes on to the fighting style in the fighter build. We have the Blade Master, which is first. This is for anyone that wants to use a sword, a one-handed sword, like for example, the Mosquito Needle, or if you want to go ahead and use the Spicy Katana. If you're using a sword, Blade Master is a must. Every sword attacks makes enemies deal less damage for 5 seconds. So basically, you're softening them up while swinging. Plus, attacking creatures with your sword reduces your exhaustion timer by 90%, meaning you can keep swinging and dodging without gassing out. It's perfect for those who want to stay aggressive and safe at the same time. The next perk that we're going to look at, and again this is in the same fighting style, is Smashers. These are for a person that use clubs. If you're rocking a club, you have to go with Smasher. It boosts your stun hit and also makes your clubs deal more damage to stun creatures. So basically, you're knocking them out with a stun, and then after you stun them, you're hitting them harder while they're down. Pure crowd control and a lot of damage with this one. Now we're going to be looking at the combat ability mutation. I have 2 options, so let's go and take a look at them. The first one is Parry Master. If you're more of a defensive player, Parry Master is insane. It gives you the perfect block and also gives you 100% chance of restoring some of your stamina when you do a perfect block. You can just hold the front lines, block everything, and never run out of stamina. Great for tanky builds and heavy armor and shields. The next one on the list is Frenzy. If you're more of a aggressive player, if you want to go all in, use Frenzy. Attacks deal 20 more damage for 5 seconds, and all of your attacks heal 1 health per second for 5 seconds. The trade-off is that you can't perform perfect block. So you gotta be aggressive, keep swinging, pairing that with the Ladybug Armor, Scarlet Embrace, and the Mosquito Needle. Basically, you're constantly healing while hitting hard. And finally, we have the Survival Mutation. One and only that you should use in this build is the Cardio Fan. Pretty much what it does, it's super handy for any fighter. It makes your stamina regenerate faster and decreases your exhaustion timer. So pretty much that is the video, guys. Those are the 2 builds that I recommend if you're using the fighter style in Grounded 2. The 2 of them are fighter style, but they are fundamentally different in terms of how you use them in the game. For example, when it comes down to the snail build, it's more of a defensive type. You use like Parry Master for the mutation, you use a shield, and the retaliation bonus effect with the armor is pretty cool. So you will block a lot and then attack using a strong offensive attack. When it comes on to the Ladybug Armor, this is the one that this is the one that I use most often. For example, with the Needle, Lifesteal, and then we have Frenzy, and also the Scarlet Embrace. Each of these give you back HP, so you can just constantly attack and attack, and you don't have to worry about defense, because as long as you attack and be aggressive, your HP is going back up. So again, based on what you want, if you want a pure attacker or a pure defender, these are the 2 different types of builds in a fighter style that I suggest. If this video was helpful and you like it, please go ahead and leave a like on the video and consider subscribing to the channel for future tips, tricks, and build guides.